conduct a program for public diplomacy at the United States Mission in Nigeria. She spent the last 3 days in Lagos and arrived here in Abuja last night and will be here until Saturday. Dr. Miller is the founder and CEO of FIMIO Incorporated, a Web3 trust and reputation company. Previously, she was technical advisor to the CEO at GitHub. She spent time co-leading nonprofit investment in computer science education for Google. Dr. Miller has expertise in machine learning and computational intelligence. We look forward to hearing about that today. She has presented at numerous tech conferences, many of which you have heard of, including TEDx, AI for Good Global Summit, among others. She's also advised high-level corporations, high-profile corporations, including Microsoft, Google, on issues related to AI. Dr. Miller is originally from Lagos, Nigeria, and holds a doctoral degree in computer science education from UC Berkeley. Without further ado, Dr. Miller, thank you.
Thank you. The clicker is my talk. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And so you all are Fulbright scholars? Yes. Can I make it full screen? Possible? Let's see.
While they're getting it ready, just as a way of introduction, Samuel graduate, undergraduate, we also have people joining from about 15 American spaces online, including Fulbright Research Club members as well.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So how many of you use AI already? What do you use? Gemini, ChatGPT. Do any of you use Claude?
I tried it.
Bing? Okay, great. How has the experience been so far?
Nice. Yes.
Do you have any like?
Currently, it's not functioning properly.
In what way?
Okay, I used it this today. I was trying to do it's tried about 10 attempts and then failed over and over again. So I had to use another.
Which one?
That's the proof.
What did you try to do?
So I was trying to understand something, so I gave it the prompt, and it said it was trying first attempt, second attempt, third attempt. Okay.
Then it eventually failed. Okay. That happens. If we can't use the clicker, if someone could just tap to the next, we could do that as well. Yeah, we could just physically tap to the next.
I think it's okay.
Shall we get started? Are you all almost done back there?
Okay.
Ben?
Hello?
Ben?
Yeah, with you.
Yeah, if you can just move your cursor up, the 3 dots up.
Yeah.
The 3 dots up, the next 3 dots. Yeah, click on it. And then you see the zoom. See the zoom? The extreme, yeah, full screen. Extreme, yeah. That's all. Click it.
Oh, perfect. All right, can we go back to the beginning, please? All right, fantastic. So once again, thank you all for coming here and for joining us in this conversation. This is a very important topic because we're having a revolutionary piece of technology. Can the people who are joining us virtually, can you hear me? If one of you can hear me, just say, yes, I can.
We can.
Yes,
Fantastic.
we
Fantastic.
can.
Yes, we can.
Excited to be here with you all. Can we go to the next slide, please? Can we go to the next slide? Yes. So I am a Nigerian American. I was born and raised in Lagos, and I've been living in the United States for the last 30 years. I started my computer science journey here in Nigeria in my high school. I did computer science then, and then moved to America and did my undergraduate in computer science as well. Did some research in computer engineering, then did my PhD at Berkeley. So let's move on to the next slide. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Yeah, I think it's slow somewhere.
Oh, so there's a delay. Okay, good. If you speak nothing else from this talk this morning, this is my core thesis. This is my core belief, not just for this talk, but like truly my core belief that guides all the things that I do. Permissionless systems change the world. If you are thinking about actually changing the world and changing the world for the better, and most of us, if you're doing research, the reason why you're doing research is because you want to extend the body of knowledge available to humanity and continue to push the limits. That means you actually want to change the world. When you remove gatekeepers, you unlock human potential at scale. So, examples of the things that have actually changed the world. Open source. When I say open source software, does anybody know what I'm talking about? Yes. Yeah, software that's publicly available. Something as simple as that, software that is publicly available. When open source kind of started, I don't know, maybe like I'm not quite sure, in the 80s, 90s, that idea that you would give software away for free, or that software was open before. Who was, I mean, you're probably all quite young. Do you all remember when we used to have disk? And you would load the disk in the computer and the software will be on that disk. Those are proprietary pieces of software and oftentimes couldn't access it. And a bunch of academics at MIT felt like software should be open. Because if it's open, we can all contribute to it. We can find bugs easier. But people were like, people pay for paid software. Why will anybody use the open version? Like, who's going to support it? So on and so forth. However, open source actually won. And today, 98% of all software in enterprise systems around the world is open source. So that's an example of a permissionless system changing the world. And open source is actually permissionless. Anybody can contribute. Next slide, please. We have a bit of a delay. Like we tap and then we have to wait. All right, I want to talk to you about the arc of revolutions. And the reason why we're talking about revolutions is because we are living in revolutionary times. We are part of the people who people will talk about in history because we are lucky enough to be born in this time where Gen AI has come full form to the marketplace. And next slide, please. And who controls this revolution controls the world. And so since we are here in Nigeria, we're here in Abuja, we're here in Africa, let us actually understand global revolutionary shifts from the African perspective. The very, very first revolution was the agrarian revolution. around 10,000 BC, we were hunters and gatherers. And then we made this massive leap into farming. So we were nomadic bands of hunters and gatherers. And now we went into farming. And then the people who actually, if one could win a revolution, was Mesopotamia. So the Nile Valley, Indus Valley. And because obviously the Nile is in Africa, Africa played a very big role. She was not a bystander. She was actually the protagonist. So the key insight is whoever controls food surplus controls power. And so that's what happened in the Agrarian Revolution. So the first major revolution, Africa had a big role to play in it. So the next slide, please. And the next slide is going to tell you that the second revolution was the steam engine. So the first use of truly mechanized automated systems, steam engines. And the superpower then was Great Britain. Steam engines changed everything, like restructured the world. And so a big chunk about it was around energy. And around that same time, most of the African continent was under colonization. So the role that we played, the African continent played, we people of African continent played, was to be a supplier of raw materials. Cotton, rubber, minerals, these are all the things that fueled that revolution. And we also supplied our people that were stolen through the transatlantic slave trade. So our resource powered that revolution, the African resource powered that revolution, but Africa did not benefit from it. So next slide, please. And the important thing to know is that since you had to figure out all these energy sources like coal, iron, and then you also needed capital, this was a permissioned revolution because you can't just enter. You need to actually have access, and you need to have massive amounts of capital. And it's not something that regular me in my house could do. The third one was the Industrial Revolution, digital revolution, electricity. So Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers, electricity was discovered, electrification happened. And once we had electrification, all the things tumbled through that. And the US became the dominant global power during that time because we were the people who actually provided the knowledge. So once we had electricity, we also had computers. During World War II, we already had computers, but those computers were like big, clunky computers. And then in the 70s, we started moving to like personal computers. In that 70s too, a bunch of people left. The center of this knowledge back then was the Northeast United States. And there were Bell Labs, all of these things. And people were like, you know what? We want to go all the way to the other side in California to Silicon Valley. Back then, Silicon Valley was a bunch of orchard groves. It was just fruit trees and farmers. They wanted to take themselves all the way so they can have themselves sequestered and do deep thinking and do work that they wanted to do. So they founded the semiconductor industry. And with the semiconductor industry, companies like Intel came to be, and those chips became powerful enough for us to continue to do more work. And the American government also funded the creation of the internet, founded mostly by researchers, because they needed a way to talk to each other through all the universities around the United States. So it first of all started as a communication platform for academic researchers to connect to each other. Tim Berners-Lee one day was like, well, we probably should also have like web pages, not just have this internet network. He invents the web page. People start back then when it was invented. This sounds so crazy, like in the 90s. If you wanted to join the internet, you would send an email, you set up your server, you give them the information, and he would put this information in a table. And so those were all the pages that existed on the internet. One person was like the human index. That was amazing. It transformed the world. We're here today because of that revolution. You have companies like Google, universities like Berkeley doing research, open source technology going wild. And in the 40s, we started talking about artificial intelligence. Could we actually have an artificial intelligence? At Dartmouth, there was the first conference like in 1945, 1946, 1947, somewhere around there. And everybody was like, maybe we can. So we should start doing research around it. So the first inspiration was, well, humans are intelligent. Let's study humans. And we're like, okay, we believe that the human state of intelligence is the brain. And so what do we know about the brain? We know that there are neurons firing. So maybe could we do a simulation of a neuron and create an artificial one? And we call that a perceptron. It's just like a small little math function where something comes in, something goes out. And the perceptron is like, okay, maybe we could just wire a few of them together and see if information could actually flow through the perceptron. And it did. It wasn't great, but it was like, oh, there's a light there. And so we continue doing research. There'll be bust and then boom, and then bust and then boom. And this research continued up till today. Somewhere in maybe the last 4 or 5 years, there was a paper written at Google, attention is all you need. So we started doing deep neural networks. We're like, let's just go deeper and deeper and stack them on top of each other. And a bunch of AI researchers at Google decided to they invented the transformer. Created this thing called attention. Like if you focus your math in a very specific way, you get better results. And the results were staggering. The results were actually like way better. And that is basically the beginning of the Gen AI that we live in today. But the important thing about that is they would present those papers at conferences. And before they would present, after they presented those papers, they would open source the tech. Like they would, if you have the paper, if you're going to submit a paper, sometimes the paper is under a paywall and you can't get to it. But if you're still editing it before the final one, you could open source that. And so this is what scientists will do. And they would open source it, it will be on archive, and everybody, all of us will pool. So I am an applied researcher. My role, my job, what I do is I don't do research as a profession, but because I have a PhD, my job is to take the research from industry or from academia and turn them into products that people could actually use. Because somebody has to be like the translator of like, okay, bring all this knowledge, pour it into, invent some kind of product, like how is humanity going to actually benefit from it? So that's what I do. Now, whoever controls intelligence is going to control power, period. Because this is how we think, this is how we reason. And the interesting thing about it is we are at the beginning. As much as you all may think that it has gone so far and we're behind. No. ChatGPT was like 2022. We're in 2026. And even ChatGPT now looks like some old-fashioned thing because we have moved forward to something even bigger and grander using agents. We are at the very, very beginning. And this revolution has a difference. It is permissionless because all of us are not going to trade frontier models. No, we're not going to do that. It'll be the equivalent of like, I am going to make my own electricity. No, you're not. Electricity exists. You're going to use it. But what needs to happen is we need to figure out all the things that electricity can empower. And right now it's permissionless because you actually don't need that. You don't need anybody's permission to go ahead and use AI. If you want to build on top of it, there are open source models that are provided. We have open source models from Meta, Llama. You can just download that model and start building on top of it. And because it is mostly on the internet, you don't actually need to be in a particular geography to benefit either. You just need to raise your hand, start using it, start building upon it, and that's it. So you just need access and ambition. So this is the first of all these global revolutions that anybody literally from anywhere could participate. So we have all of this, and now we need to figure out what we're going to do. Can we go to the next one, please? All right. I think this is Nigeria's moment. Because, can we go to the next slide, please? The reason why I think it's Nigeria's moment is this is a country where overwhelmingly majority of the people are young. They're under 25. 60% are under 25. And the reason why that matters is young people are more open. They're willing to try things. The older we get, the more like, let's try things we do. It's already mobile, like internet ready. The average Nigerian sometimes has 2 phones, and they conduct a significant chunk of their lives on the internet through WhatsApp, through Instagram, through this and that. You have 750 million mobile connections. And so because there has not been a lot of infrastructure that was here in the past, the adoption of the new stuff becomes even bigger because it's a dramatic shift in people's lives. Do you all remember before WhatsApp? If you had to call, do you all remember, I don't know how old you are, when we used to have landlines and you would call internationally. And people would be yelling because the line had so much static. Hello, you know, and it was very expensive. And it's not just something you could just like wake up and be like, I am going to call some country in the world. You would literally make an appointment. Some people would have to go to like a call center and make an appointment and pay. Now, if you have data, you have WhatsApp, it's free. You just call, it's free. So that has radically changed everything. Next slide, please. So this is a big deal. Nigeria has a significant amount of developers already. They're in hubs like Lagos, they're in hubs like Abuja. The market is huge. The fintech revolution is already on the way, Paystack, Flutterwave, they're already changing everything. And the mindset of the people, most Nigerians, including myself, a Nigerian American, because you take your mind with you, very entrepreneurial, self-sovereign. And when I say self-sovereign, it means like the average person of us, we are like a mini government unto ourselves because we provide our own power sometimes, we provide our own water sometimes. And so we've just, because we have challenges with governance and infrastructure, most of us have just decided to just figure it out. And turns out that figure it out attitude is what you actually need for entrepreneurship. And research, because you actually don't know. When you're at the frontier, you don't know, you just have to figure it out. Next, please. Ooh, how long is this one gonna take to tap? All right, so next, please. This revolution, you don't need a permission, you just need a laptop and an internet connection. All the papers are on archive. Most of the code for the papers are on GitHub. The tools democratize the capacity, and the talent then gets determines destiny. Because all the latest papers that are coming out with ARM AI are on archive for free. It's like they just drop, and the code base to do the implementation is open source immediately, because they are competing with each other to say, this model passes the benchmark faster than the other model. So now let's actually get to the responsible use of AI in research writing, because AI could just do your research for you. You don't be like, write my essay, write my paper, and it can do it for you, but that is not responsible. Next tab, please. First of all, how many of you actually do use AI for doing research? Okay, good. And so sometimes people don't actually know well, how can I use it for research? What's the best way for me to use it for research? You can do literature discovery. So you're doing research in an area and you want to know what other research has happened in this area, what papers have people cited, what are the novel things that have come out of this area. AI is perfect for that. Synthesis and summarization. For example, there are so many papers on archive. At the rate at which they are dropping, there is no way you're going to be able to get through all of them and read all of them. You could just say, here's a paper, just summarize 2 paragraphs. What's the high level? Just to get some of that knowledge into your head. And then based on that, you can decide to go deeper or not. Drafting, the initial draft or the skeleton. You could be like, AI can make the skeleton of the talk, the skeleton of the research. And it can help you as like a thinking aid. Can we mute, please? Yes. So translation and accessibility. So you've already written your paper, you've done your research, you have highlighted it in, it's in English, and now you decide that you want to make it accessible to more people. So maybe you want to use it and do automatic machine translation. Translate it to French, translate it to Portuguese, translate it to Hausa, Yoruba. You can just translate it and put your papers out there so more people can read it. Data analysis and editing and refinement. So just correct my grammar, make sure I haven't put the comma in the wrong place and stuff like that. Next slide, please. But with that also comes certain risk. So you need to know that AI can hallucinate. And when I say hallucinate, it can come up with things that are not real, but look very, very real. So whatever it gives you, you have to verify. And then it may reproduce text from training data without citation. So you inadvertently now plagiarize because you don't know that some of the answers that it's giving you back, it's just pulled literally 5-6 sentences from the training set without attribution. So that's something to also just be wary of. It can do bias amplification. So most of the models are trained on data that is available on the internet, and the significant chunk of the data that is available on the internet is from the West. And that data reflects Western views. So depending on the kinds of research you're doing, it might actually not reflect your views, and it may not be able to help you move forward with a non-Western perspective. And this is the most important one. The big risk, if AI is used irresponsibly, is you can lose your voice. You can strip your writing of its own unique perspective, cultural context, and intellectual personality. And that's the point of scholarship. If it does everything for you, you lose the essence of who you are. What are you adding to everything? Because now you're just AI does it for me. Next tab, please. So principles, just 5 principles that we can all just hold on to quickly and get ourselves together. Transparency. If you use AI, disclose use AI. Verification. Independently verify every AI-generated claim, citation, or statistic. Yes, it gives it to you. You need to go verify. Make sure that it's actually true before you put it in your paper. Some of the stats that it comes up with sometimes are not true. So you need to, because it can hallucinate, you need to verify. Attribution. Credit the AI tool appropriately. Never present AI output like original thought. If the whole thing is done by AI, credit it so that we know. Otherwise, it's plagiarism. Human in the loop. AI is best thought about as an assistant. So it assists your thinking, it does not replace it. You are the author, and it's just an assistant. And finally, cultural integrity. Ensure your unique perspective, your local knowledge, and your voice survives the AI editing process. Because you could have actually written your thing, and it has all your voice in it, your everything. And then you say, do the editing for me. And it just strips all that out. So just make sure you do that. So these are the research workflows that you should just do. Research, outline, draft, verify. Don't just take it wholehearted and then you refine it. Next slide, please. Yes, next slide. Hopefully it goes. All right. Think of all AI like a brilliant research assistant who occasionally laughs. That's the best way to think about it. So, oh, this is the best research assistant in the world. But every now and then it lies. If you have that in the back of your mind, you won't fall victim. So it's your research partner, it's not your author. And you won't let an assistant publish under your name without review. You just wouldn't do that. You wouldn't trust their citations without checking. Because you know they're very smart, but occasionally they lie. And you wouldn't let them erase your perspective from your own paper. So let's focus on the don'ts and then we can do the do's. Don't submit AI generated text. Don't trust its citations. Don't let it replace you. Don't let it fabricate data and results. Don't ignore your institution's AI policy because different institutions have different AI policies. So before you actually submit your work, or even before you start, acquaint yourself with the AI policy of your institution if it has one. Don't lose your unique cultural perspective. And don't assume AI understands your own local context. If you're going to do something that is locally specific, give it the local context first. Otherwise, it's just not going to be useful to you. And use it to brainstorm. Do use it to get citations but verify. Discuss the usage. It's great for style and editing. Maintain your own analytical framework. Train yourself to prompt effectively. That you should really do that. And use AI to actually translate and broaden your work to more people. Next slide, please. And so in the next slide, we're going to talk about my research. So there's this myth of innate ability that seems to be like a persistent myth. It just will not die. Like some people are born with this kind of IQ, or some people are born for math, or some people are born nurturers. No, people are born, nurture shapes them. Whatever you're afraid of, you're not going to be good at. So sometimes maybe you started in school and your first set of math classes were kind of rough. And you just didn't get it and you got frustrated. So whenever you think of math, you think of frustration and you just shut down. And at some point you just say, well, I'm not the math person. No, you were frustrated. It has nothing to do with mathematics. Maybe maybe that day you went to school hungry. Maybe you don't like the teacher. Maybe your mom had punished you. So many things. Human beings are a basket of emotions. And everything that we learn is emotionally mediated. So some people have learned to get into a learning position, a learning mind. Just like, okay, well, now it's time for learning. And then more importantly, when you're learning something and it's something new, most of the time you fail. You don't get it the first time. You may not even get it the second or third time. But over time you get it because you are learning. So that myth that there's some technical people, it's not even true. This is the research that I actually did at Berkeley because I believe that permissionless systems change the world. I knew that if everybody participated in open source, we actually can accelerate human progress. We want to accelerate human progress. We want to solve all of these diseases. And the knowledge is tied in people's heads. But the people are not participating because they're scared. So we have to figure out how to unscare them in an academic setting and bring them in. Expertise comes from deliberate practice. Deliberate practice. It's the equivalent of I want to run a marathon. I am not a runner. So if I want to run a marathon, I can't wake up tomorrow and say I'm running a marathon. I probably will die. I have to do the little exercises first and practice. And maybe over a year, I actually can run a marathon. People progress through legitimate developmental stages, regardless of their background. AI tools are the great equalizer. They give everyone access to capabilities that were previously reserved for those with elite training and institutional backing. So now, it took me 5 years to get my PhD at Berkeley. I had to be at Berkeley, which was an elite institution, which is an elite institution. My dissertation is online, all my work is online, my research is online. If you wanted to get access to that knowledge today, you could just get it through an LLM because it's there. You can get what took me 5 years to get in 20 minutes. And that is amazing. So the world does not need more research that sounds like it came from a large language model trained on Western academic prose. The world actually needs your perspective. And one of the things I have noticed is most of us don't bring ourselves to our work. We copy what other people have done. No. If you're in Nigeria, if you're in Abuja, try to make your work reflect your own reality. That's what's missing in the knowledge base of humanity. You understand your local system, you understand the cultural dynamics, you understand everything that happens here. And so all those kids that we have to educate, all the Almajiri that has to be educated, there's so many of them, they are not enough teachers, and they're not going to be enough teachers. However, AI can teach them. If AI tries to teach them today, it's not going to work. Most of them do not speak English. So first of all, the AI has to speak Hausa perfectly. And then it has to understand their local context of their lives, what will work for them. Nobody else is going to do that except you, who actually speak Hausa in the local context. So be responsible builders of AI, be responsible builders of the AI future. And build the future that is actually going to solve the problems here, where you could deploy something, drive 2 hours, and see if it's working. And it doesn't work, it back. You don't have to be waiting for somebody else to come and do it for you. Next slide. That is it. That is it. And I don't know if you have time for questions. Yes, no? Okay. So what happens?
It's coming from the participants. They have to mute their mic.
Please mute your microphone. And please mute your microphone online. Thank you, Dr. Milan. You're welcome. I'm going to introduce our next panelist on the call today. Professor Amin, are you online, please? We have Professor Mubarak Amin, who is a professor from the Department of Chemistry, University of Ilorin. More than 20 years of teaching experience in research and administrative experiences as well. He was a one-time deputy director for the Center for Research and Development in-house training credit, the Technical Entrepreneurship Center Tech. He's trusted in isolation and characterization of natural products, food chemistry, and biodegradable energy. And he has over 70 publications in different outlets and successfully supervised undergraduates and 9 master's dissertations. Professor Mubarak Amin is our next.
Yes, I'm with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this wonderful introduction. And good morning to everybody. I also appreciate Dr. Miller for our presentation. Do you want me to open my presentation here, or the slide will be shared at your end? Hello? Do you want me to share my slide, my presentation? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Let me go back. All right. As I've been rightly introduced, Mubarak Amin is my name, and I've been teaching chemistry at the University of Ilorin for more than 20 years. My work or my talk this morning have been made has been simplified or made this by Dr. Miller with her presentation. She has actually delved into what I want to talk about in a very elaborate and explanatory manner. I don't need to, I will not belabor myself again or waste more time. I will just go to the key points again. This is what I prepared as the, objectives of this talk this morning. This is what we are, expected to take out from our talk this morning. Let me not belabor ourselves going through this again. What is generative AI? Already, most of us here are familiar with AI. And even if you are getting to know about AI for the first time, Dr. Miller has talked much about it. Okay, AI generates text, images, or data from prompts, and it can be used for drafting some or summarizing or editing and formatting of thoughts. AI will only assist, but cannot replace human expertise. This has been emphasized. Now, the use of AI in academic writing and research. AI can be used to enhance grammar and language, but it cannot replace the thought of the author himself or herself. It can be used to structure outlines and organize ideas. It can also be used to summarize provided text. It can also be used to format references in the formats that we know, APA, MLA, Chicago, and so on. And it can be used to brainstorm research questions. AI may not be used to submit work without disclosing that AI has been used. This was emphatically stated by Dr. Miller. And you cannot use AI to fabricate data or references. It will be wrong for you to also generate a thesis or articles without your own personal contribution to what you have written or what you want to submit. AI can only assist you. It cannot replace your own efforts. Bypassing plagiarism detection systems. We can't use AI to do this. There are some institutions where whatever you want to submit will have to be subjected to plagiarism tests to know how the level, whether your work is plagiarism free or not. This last point here was also emphasized by Dr. Miller, that using AI to manipulate or falsify results is unethical. You can't use AI to generate results or to modify your results so as to fit to some certain standard. That would be wrong. There are some ethical concerns I always emphasize in the use of AI. We need to consider ethical concerns when you are using AI. For example, you have to be wary of plagiarism and make sure that your work is original. Fabricated, hallucinated citations is another thing. When you use AI to generate a text and also generate citations, unless you verify the citation you have, you may find out that most of those citations are wrong. There are some instances in which you have some references which does not even exist at all that has been generated for you by AI. If you are not careful enough to check this, you will fall victim of wrong submission. And there are some instances AI may generate some link to some references to you. by the time you visit those links, you find out it's not even related at all. What is available on the link may not even be related to what the citation that AI has given for you. Also, we talk about privacy and confidentiality. With AI deal with data and information that has been fed into it. AI does not generate its own data, but these are data that are already in existence that have been fed into it. So you have to be wary of using generated data without taking note of the privacy or confidentiality related to this data. Otherwise, that may lead to legal, if your work is made public, it can lead to legal issues. Then you need to take responsibility of the authorship of your work so that you'll be able to be accountable if there is going to be any challenge. Some institutions and publishers expect that you disclose that you use AI before you submit your work. What level of AI assistant you have used need to be disclosed. Whether you have used AI to generate all your material or some part of your material. Like I said, Dr. Miller mentioned this earlier. Then you have to be accountable for all the content in your submission. Results and data, they are supposed to be output from research. So using AI-generated data is entirely dubious and not acceptable. And you have to comply with university policies. Different universities have their different policies, as mentioned by the first speaker, Dr. Miller. Let me add here that not most of the universities in this part of the world are just developing their AI policy. I can say categorically for University of Ilorin that the AI policy is in the pipeline. Very soon, a document will be released for AI policy. Another one that is related to that Ilorin is working on is the policy on cyber security, which is also related to AI. So we have to be acquainted with your institution policy so as not to fall victim of fall victim of not following this policy. Now, these are some suggested guidelines for responsible use of AI for your work. One, you have to be transparent about the AI assistance. You have to disclose what the amount of work has been used or generated with AI. Then you need to verify all the references and claims. This is very, very important. I have experienced it more often than not, that references that generated for you by AI may not be entirely correct or may not even be related to what you are submitting. Then you have to maintain intellectual contribution. You also need to use your own intellect when you are, not entirely relying generated ideas. Then you need to avoid over-dependence on AI tools. This will prove very dangerous. Otherwise, you have no thinking faculty of yourself if you are depending on AI. You also need to develop your own mental faculty. Then you need to protect confidential research data. Data that as a result of research, you need to find a way to protect this, okay? Otherwise, you fall victim of privacy violation. Now, this statement is just to bring us to sample disclosure statement. That this is one way you can disclose whether you have used AI in your work or not. Yes, you can modify it. This cannot be, it's not something that you must use all the time, but this is just a sample. It can be adapted by individual. Portions of this manuscript were refined for language clarity using AI. Okay, if that's what you use, clarity using AI-assisted writing software. All content was reviewed, verified, and approved by the authors. This is just a sample to let you know that you need to disclose the use of AI in your work, and this is a sample of how you can do that. Now, advantages and risk of using AI. By using AI for your written material, this will improve clarity. Okay, it will make your draft work faster. Be able to generate ideas very fast, and you have better organization. However, you need to be wary of fabricated references, or it may even reduce your critical thinking about what you are doing, and it can lead you into academic misconduct. So all this, you need to find a balance when you are using AI for your work. These are 5 principles of responsible use of AI. 1, transparency. You need to be transparent about the use of AI. Accountability. You have to take responsibility for the AI you have used in your work. Accuracy. Then you need to make sure that what you want to submit is very accurate. Integrity. You also need to maintain the integrity of yourself as well as your submission. And compliance. You need to comply with policies of institutions. You need to be aware of the policy of the institution where you are working, and comply totally with those policies. Well, these are some maybe questions for discussion, but we don't have time for that. But you can take note of this and generate your own idea on this, on the use of AI. In conclusion, AI is a powerful academic support tool. Not only that, AI has been around and that has come to stay. We cannot shy away from it. AI must complement. It should not replace scholarly thinking. Responsible use preserves credibility and integrity. Also, ethical scholarship remains the researcher's responsibility. Live to ethical with whatever you are doing. Thank you for your attentions. And let me add again that I have also used AI to get these thoughts together as a way of disclosure. Thank you for your listening. Okay.
Yes, thank you, thank you, Professor Amin, and thank you, Dr. Miller, for your wonderful presentations. And at this point, we will take questions from the in-house crowd and as well as our online audience as well. So if you have a question and you're on the Zoom call, could you just, if you have you can raise your hand and you can be called on and you unmute and ask your question. And you can also put them in the chat box and we can read them out. Yeah?
Yeah, so Adebayo Olumide said, thanks for the privilege. I would like to know the acceptable plagiarism percentage times.
All right. So
No, it's plagiarism.
Yeah?
You're not allowed to plagiarize. So
Okay.
it's not.
None. Yes? Okay.
Another question, how do we give give AI the best prompt to follow all these rules?
How do you give the best prompts to follow the rules?
You first of all need to put the rules together.
It's called grounding.
Grounding? Yeah. Okay, answer. Tell us.
That's grounding.
Like give it instruction on what to do, or what's called fine tuning it to give some certain
Thresholds.
it's actually called grounding. So you have to fine tune your AI or model to meet some certain thresholds to avoid hallucination.
I don't think that's what he was asking.
Okay.
I think the questioner was saying that they want to comply with all the rules of like, don't cheat, don't do this, don't do that. And they want to know, how do they write a prompt so that when they get the result of the prompt, it already has not hallucinated, it already has not fabricated citations, it hasn't done plagiarism. That is actually very hard to do. You just give it the prompt that you want. That's your job to go verify. So when it gives you an answer, then you have to go verify.
Okay. And in the room, let's take one of the questions in the room.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So my question is, how can we restrict AI from getting our personal detail? Like, there was a time where I was using ChatGPT and it spoke Igbo to me, but I did not give it any prompt regarding that. I'm Igbo by tribe, actually. I didn't give it any prompt regarding that, and I've not told ChatGPT to interpret or translate anything for me in Igbo language. So I found out that, okay, there's a leak somewhere. How do I stop that?
So many AI chatbots use memory. And I bet that was not the first time you spoke to it that it did this.
But not in Igbo language.
Yes. So you have shared your information inadvertently in the past with it.
Now?
And so what you can do is say, don't use memory. So if every conversation you've had with it in the past, it remembers. And if you don't want it to remember, you can say, don't use memory. So every time you talk to it, it's the very first time. It doesn't know anything about you. But you probably shared so many parts about this that even a human would be able to infer you're able.
This question is generating another question.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
I want to ask, when we draft a paper as this, or like you write out what you want to write out and then you send it to ChatGPT for refinement, does one still need to attribute ChatGPT? And does that sound like a ChatGPT generated content? Remember, you've written your stuff, you just want it to help you refine it.
I think Professor Amin told us that you just have to put the citation that some parts of this was refined using AI, and you just put that at the end of the essay as like a footnote.
Okay.
Can we take from the
one of the I think we have a couple of people on the Zoom call as well. We have some hands raised, okay. And from the spaces as well.
Good morning. I know we're talking about research, but does this also apply? And please a follow up from the question that she asked. Does it also apply to, let's say, content being made or posts being made for LinkedIn, for instance?
No, not really, because it's not research. So these things really matter for research, or it matters if it's a paid content for sponsorship, but if you're just talking with no, it doesn't matter.
Can we pick somebody from online?
Yes.
Adeboye, please can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Okay, Zaria, can you go ahead? Okay, Adeboye is there now. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, thanks for the privilege. I'm so grateful. I want to get I have two questions. How to get clarification on this issue of plagiarism. Take, for instance, you're writing a a work, like a review article, which happens to be a second-hand research, like you are getting from others. Now, it's not your direct work. So does it mean if I actually did it and I subject to plagiarism test, it will give me a 0%? It's not as if I'm just picking someone's work and replicating it. Does it mean it's a 0% plagiarism? That's why I asked that first question. Then my second question is still about this accrediting AI. Take for instance, I have at some point in my write-up for publication, I needed to know advantages of biotech. So I maybe trying to get it by myself is giving me a lot of mop-up response. And I said, okay. And it gave me key, and I subjected to AI and gave me some key points with some references. Now, I now pick those key points, probably rephrased or directly, now use the generated references, the article it got the information from, checked it, and I realized it's good. It's real, it's not an hallucinated response. And I now go there myself, now get the explanations. Now, such aspect of my work, will I still accredit it to AI? Like AI gave me the outline or something. So I want to be clarified on that. Thank you.
No, but it's the same. Basically, I think we're overthinking this. Imagine if you had a human assistant and the assistant was helping you to research. Everything that would apply to that assistant would apply to AI. I think that's the easiest way. So your assistant comes and gives you articles and stuff. Don't overcomplicate it. Just assume AI is like a human assistant. And everything that you'd have to do with that assistant, you have to do with AI.
Okay, can we have Zaria now?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, all. I want to thank Dr. Miller and Prof from University of Illinois for that presentation. My name is Omoju. I'm a postgraduate student in Omoju Miller University area here. My question is, I want to know whether since AI is allowed to be used in research writing, is there any standard on the percentage of the content of AI to be used? I don't know that my question is clear.
It should be 0. It shouldn't do your research writing for you. You shouldn't let AI go write 20% of the research, you do 80. You do all the research writing. It can refine it, but it should be 0. But this is my personal stance. Your institution may have something different.
Well, if I may come in here, I think depending on different institutions, some institutions may allow AI content in research writing. Okay, and the one I've seen before is between 20 and 25%. That it shouldn't be more than that percent. Just like when you are carrying out plagiarism tests, that your content may not be if it's not more than 20 or 30%, it's different on different institutions. So we shouldn't allow AI generated content, but to some minimum certain percentage, depending on individual institution and the policy of that institution. My take on that.
I think we'll just take one more from here. Dr. Ben, please go ahead, and that's it.
Dr. Ben,
hello, good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for this wonderful presentation. My question is, can we have the paper shared for online usage? The PowerPoint, rather.
Oh, yes. When I will share it, I will open source it. I'll put everything under my website and you can go get it. But it will be next week.
Okay, and secondly, the use of AI should not be abused. The AI should be used like a guideline, like you are searching for something in the dictionary, you don't just copy the whole thing verbatim. When you get your point, when you get your outline, I think it can be reframed so that when they pass it through AI plagiarism, you are free. Instead of just copying the whole thing verbatim, just dump it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you,
So-
everyone. Yeah, we have one. Okay.
Warning, if the university discover violation of research regulation after 2 years of graduation, probably turn it in or other plagiarism tool detected it. Assisted the student more than 70% of being practiced on some schools. What will be the consequence?
Why are you asking us that question? We are not your school. So that is an inappropriate question for this forum. Do we have time for more questions in the room?
Yeah, we can have one. We have like 5 minutes if we can have one more question from the room and then.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate you, Dr. Miller, and the other professor. So my question is also beyond this teaching. So I really appreciate some of the points you made, especially as regarding the cultural context for Nigerians or Africans, because just like you mentioned, many of these AI tools.
You have 5 minutes. Give us your question.
So my question is this. One of the things you mentioned was infrastructure. So what do you think in that area? Like, for example, now, before you can even use an AI tool, you need to have access to data, access to the internet. So how do you think, because if we want to build Africa, this is one area where we need to develop, and data is not cheap. So what do you think in that aspect? And another...
No, that's the only question. Give me the microphone. I don't think I mentioned infrastructure, but I'll let that pass. They are open, remember I was talking about open source? They are open source models where you go and download the raw model itself, and it has open source weights. You will install it on a computer or in a server, and then you can query it from there. And if you don't know how to do that, you can actually ask AI to show you how to do that as well. It's a one-time thing that you can do. You do need to have data or internet. If you are a student, your institution has access to internet, and you can use their internet to download the model. And then you can do the work to figure out how to query it. And once it's downloaded on your computer or something, it doesn't need access to internet. So that is an excuse. There's no more excuses. If you go to Meta, the Llama model, I don't need to give you this. Ask an AI, it will give it to you.
Thank you. My question.
Put the mic close to your mouth. Yeah.
Okay, my question is basically on the applied research.
Yeah.
Because I'm technically inclined. I actually I use cybersecurity. I'm not that good in terms of documenting and all the stuff, but I actually code. So I don't know if I want to carry out a research. I have a research I'm working on. Can I work with someone that can just work on the documentation while?
No, you're outsourcing half your work to somebody else. No. What do you mean I don't do documentation? Go and do documentation. Teach yourself how to do it.
Second question is...
No, you don't get a second question. This gentleman, you already asked the question. This gentleman, let's get him. Oh no, we have already asked the question.
He only answered it.
Well, your voice has been heard. Sorry.
Okay, so I just want to take it from what he was asking. He's not talking about the internet. He's talking about data. Like data, not data to browse.
Data to train the models?
Yes, that's what he's talking about.
So the data that you need, we are not in Africa gonna be building frontier models. That does not make sense to us. A frontier model uses a nuclear power plant to power the electricity to train the GPU. We are not going to get there, but that's not the point. That is like a waste of time and a distraction. Our role using technology that exists today is fine-tune models that already exist. Llama model from Meta, they have open source models. These models are good enough, but they're not going to be good enough for the African context. You download that model, you fine-tune on top of it. And when you want to fine-tune a model, you don't need millions of data points. You need a handful of good data points, sometimes just 500 samples. You can go out on the streets and collect 500 samples of speech in Hausa. Just go to the markets. You know the sentence you're to say. Go to the market and go shopping. In Hausa, record it on your phone. Finish, you have data.
So in your presentation, you said one of the things that we should all be doing is learning how to prompt more effectively.
Yes.
So aside from asking AI to teach us how to prompt more effectively, what other recommendations or resources do you have for us to learn that ability?
The internet. So I would, first of all, my thing would be ask AI to do it for you, to teach you. Because it's also like a teacher, it will teach you how to prompt effectively. And then I will spend my time on the internet just literally searching for great prompt examples. If you are not on X, I know it's accessible, but you should still be on X and Twitter because those conversations are happening there. People are sharing their prompts. People are sharing how they're learning. We are all learning in the public. And if we're all learning at the same time on the internet, because this thing is new, and we're all just like talking about it every day on the internet. So if you want to learn, just be on the internet in those conversations.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. Can we have the director or somebody there to please wrap up?
Hi. Okay, so I want to say thank you to Dr. Miller for your time and for your wonderful presentation. And also thank you to Professor Amin for your time and for, can you hear me?
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yes, thank you for your time, for your wonderful presentation. And to everyone who joined us on Zoom and those that are on the YouTube page as well as all the people in our different spaces, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your attendance. And please take the poll before you exit. There's a poll, my colleague Blessing has posted it on the different platforms and we'll share them as well with the people in the room. Please take a minute to take the poll before you sign off. And we would see you all on the next Fulbright Research Club episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Uncle Sam, you can take over now. Thank you.
All right, please, all the spaces that have joined this one, please let's move to the Speak with a Diplomat Zoom room. You have sent the link, you all have the link. Let's join now. We have just 1 minute to go. Thank you.